Okay, so this is what we're going to be creating. As you can see, it's very simple. Okay, so let's get to it. And I am working with Photoshop CC. Okay, so here's my photo. This is the photo I'm gonna use. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to separate this guy from the background. And to do that, you come over here and you take your selection tool, your quick selection tool right here. Okay. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit. So we're just going to make a real quick selection just to separate him. So we just drag. Just try to get everything. And some of you may already know how to do this stuff. This may be real easy to you, but there's a lot of people who don't know, and those are the people that we're trying to help. So you can see I'm just clicking and dragging, just selecting. I want to get all the way to the edge. Okay. So everything that's selected is going to be surrounded by those dots. These lines that you see around him, everything within those lines, those marching ants is what they call, is going to be selected. Just rough this out a little bit. Just bear with me. Okay, it's looking pretty good. But as you can see, it's selected all of this here. I don't want the floor. So what we can do, we can hold the Alt key to deselect the floor behind him. Let me zoom in. So you can see when I hit the Alt key, it turns into a minus sign right here. So anything I select is going to be subtracted from the existing selection. So hold the minus key and drag. See, it's deselecting that part that we don't want. So we're going to bring this back in. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Just make sure we go all the way to the edge. can't really see who's watching, so I'm still trying to figure this thing out. So if you're watching, thank you for tuning in. I hope you learned something. Okay, so we have our selection. So now we want to go to refine edge. Can you see that refine edge right up here at the top? You see, it takes everything away, and we're just left with our basketball player here, and that's what we want. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to zoom in and make sure the edges are smooth. We don't want it. We don't want it to be jaggy and rough looking. Here, I want to see it with the gray background, so I'm going to go up here to View and click on All Layers. So you can see here where his leg is jaggy around the edges. It's not smooth, so we don't want that. We want the edges to be as smooth as we can get them. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. 1 second. Make sure you guys can still see me. I'm not sure. Is it still going? Not sure if it's still going or not. Okay. I can't see whether or not I'm live, so I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure this out. I apologize. Still working out the kinks. Okay, I think we're back in business. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna where it says adjust edge, I'm just gonna move the smooth slider just to smooth the edges out. Maybe around 20, 25 will work. See, I think that's looking pretty good. Maybe we can make the feather, just to feather the edges a little bit. We make that maybe 1.5. Let's bump the contrast up a little bit. And sometimes I like to check where it says output decontaminate colors. Just kind of gets rid of some of the color around the edges that you might not want. So I'm just bump that up a little bit. Okay, so I think my edges are looking pretty clean. I'm gonna go ahead and hit output this selection to new layer. And as you can see, we have our basketball player here, and we have the background separate. We can turn it on and off. So really, in this design, like we have here, we just want the floor to show. We don't want everything in the background. We just want the floor. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a mask. I'm going to create a mask on my background and apply a gradient to it. So it's going to gradually fade out. Like so. Kind of like that. I think that'll do. Let's see. Maybe we'll start from right here, where his shoes are. We'll just start from right here and see what we get. Okay, I think that looks better. And so I'm just going to add a little bit of light in the background. You know what? The background is gray. Let's make it. Let's add a little bit of blue to it. Let's add a little bit of color, and I'm just going to go to color balance. You can go to image, adjustments, and color balance. I'm just going to add a little bit of blue to it, to the background. Not just a little bit, just a tad, something like that. So it's not so gray. And let's see. Okay, I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to take my gradient tool, and I just want the color white, because we're going to add some light back here to the background, kind of like a spotlight. Go here. We want it to go from foreground color to transparent on our gradient. And right here, you want to choose radial gradient. So you hit your gradient tool right here. Come up here to radial gradient, and you want your color to be white to transparent. Okay, and we're just going to drag. Oh, there's too much. Boo, 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 boo. See? Let's try that. Let's go with that. I'm going to go with that. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is add a clouds layer. So I'm just going to rename this layer to background light. Rename this to player. And above the background light layer, we're going to add another layer, and we're just going to render some clouds. So we'll call this clouds. And normally when I create clouds, I change my foreground to white and my background to black. And what you want to do, you go to up here to filter, you go to render, and you go to clouds. Bam, just like that. It's magic. We got clouds. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. The shortcut to repeat the last filter is Control F. So I'm just gonna keep hitting Control F until I get something I like. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with that. Let's go with that. Okay, so what you want to do now is change the blending mode for your clouds layer. I think I'm gonna try soft light. So we got soft light. Let's see, overlay. Let's see how that looks. No, they say that's a little bit too much. So let's go back to soft light. So I think I'm gonna turn my background light, turn the opacity down just a little bit. And we're gonna decrease the opacity on our clouds layer, just so it can blend in a little bit more. Maybe something like that. We don't want the clouds to be too distracting in the background, so. And I'm just gonna go back and look at the reference just to make sure we're on the right track. Yeah, see on this one we went with a darker background, so we might want to go darker on the background. Okay. And now I'm gonna add a mask to my clouds layer. And I want to kind of fade it from top to bottom. I don't want the clouds to be as visible at the bottom on the floor. So I'm just gonna choose my gradient, and I'm gonna go white to black. Anything that's white is going to be visible. Anything that's black is going to be hidden. So we're going to start here halfway and drag down. It's going from white to black. That's not what we want. Go back. Why is it? Okay, here you want to go back to linear gradient. We were on radial gradient, so you want to go back to linear gradient. Let's try that again. All right. So let me just show you how this looks without the background. So you see the clouds. You can see them. They're more visible at the top, but then once you go down, they start to fade out down here on the floor. Okay, so let's try to make our background just a little bit darker. Something like that, maybe. Well, that's a little bit too dark. We don't want to go that far. And let me back up. Let me show you. There's several ways you can make your image darker. But what I did, and you can go to Image, Adjustments, and Hue Saturation, and just drag your lightness down. Drag it over to the left, and your image will get darker. So I would just go with something like that, negative 26. So that's before, that's after, before, after. Okay. Okay, so we're almost done. Like I said, this is it's going to be a simple design. to turn the background light down just a little bit more on my opacity. Just a little bit. Maybe something like that. And the basketball player is a little bit too dark, so we need to lighten him up too. And to do that, you go to your player layer. And you want to open your curves adjustment layer. So we want to add a curves. And on the right side, we're just going to go up with our curve. It's too bright. Bring it back down. Maybe something like that, maybe. We're going to bring the left side down. The right side of your curve are the highlights. That's where your highlights are. Then on the left side, you have your shadows. So we're going to bring our shadows back down on the left side here. Like that. And we don't want our curves adjustment layer to affect the whole image. So we're going to clip it. We only want the curves layer to affect our player, our basketball player. So to do that, you hit your curve, you click on your curves layer, and you hold Alt. I'm not sure what the shortcut key is on the Mac, but you hold Alt and you click in between the two layers right here. So you see the arrow on your curves layer is pointing down to your basketball player layer. I'm going to rename this to basketball player. Okay. So it's before, after. I think that might be a little bit too bright, so we can take our curves adjustment layer and just decrease the opacity a little bit. Just bring the opacity down. Maybe 75%. Yeah. Okay, I think that looks good. So the only thing we want to do now is just add our title. And let me go back. I can't remember what I had. Okay, Helena Huskies. So that's the name of our basketball team. And I can't remember what font that was. Rockwell. Okay. Okay, so now you want to just go over here to your tool and grab your type tool and just click, and we're going to type out Helena. Increase the size a little bit. I'm just going to scale it up a little bit, like so. Okay. And you want to make sure that your title is centered. So you can hit Control A, or you can come up here to select all. And right here, you want to hit this button where it says Align Horizontal Centers, and it's going to center it. Make sure it's centered. Okay. Rockwell bold. Rockwell bold or Rockwell condensed bold? Rockwell bold. Okay. So we're going to Okay, it's Rockwell Extra Bold. That's the font we want. Rockwell Extra Bold. Where are you? Extra Bold. I don't see that one. Oh, there it is. Rockwell Extra Bold. That's what we want. Okay. Say the letters are just a little bit too close together, so you want to go over here to your characters and increase the tracking. I'm going to set it to maybe 25 for now. Okay. And for now, I'm just going to change the color of my text to black. Okay. And underneath the school name, we're just going to put the mascot name, which is Huskies. Make that a little bit bigger. And again, you want to center this too. You want to make sure it's centered. And we're going to change the font on this one to, let's use Rage Italic. And just going to make it bigger, something like that. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Now on this one, the letters are, there's too much space in between the letters on this one, so we're going to bring the tracking back down, back to 0. Stay down. Okay. I kind of want the floor to have a little bit more color, so I'm just going to increase the saturation on my floor on the basketball court. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. And I'm just going to increase my saturation just a little bit. See, that's, we just want to add a little bit more color to it. And I think I'm going to bring my saturation down. I think I'm going to bring it down on the basketball player. Take it down just a little bit because I think his skin is just a little bit too orange, a little bit too saturated. So just bring it down a little bit. Be -7. Okay, we're almost there. Almost there. Okay, on the school name, we're going to add a stroke. So we come down to where it says effects right here. And what we're going to do, we're going to add a layer style. And we're going to go to stroke. Okay, and we're going to change the color of our stroke to white for right now. We're going to change it in just a second. I just want to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so we want it to be kind of big. You see, when you increase the size, you lose your inside color. So what you want to do, where it says position, instead of inside, we want the stroke to go to the outside, like that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, I'm going going to say OK. Let's see. Now I don't want my text to be black. We're going to put a gradient on the text. I wanted to go from dark gray to black. So you go back into your layer style and you go to gradient overlay. And we're just going to add a dark gray to black gradient. Dark gray. And right here. So let me go back. Let me show you what I'm doing. Okay, in the gradient editor, this is where you control and pick the colors that you want in your gradient. So on the right side here, that's going to be our top color on the right side. On the left side is going to be our bottom color. So I'm going to change this to black. So you see it's fading from dark gray to black. Let's add a little bit more gray so you can see. Okay. So it's fading from dark gray to black. Okay. So on the stroke, we want to change our stroke color from a solid color to a gradient on the stroke. So you go to your stroke and then you go to fill types, and where it says color, you want to change that to gradient. Okay. So on this one, let me go back to the reference just to see what color. Okay, so we got light gray. It looks like on the stroke we have light gray, and it's fading to white. It's gradually going to white to light gray again. So it's light gray, white, light gray. Okay. So we're gonna have 3 colors. So you go back to your layer styles, stroke, and gradient. So we're going to change our first color right here on the right to light gray. And then we're going to add another color to the middle. You just click right here at the bottom to add another color. Okay. And so we're just going to make that one white. So double click on that and make it white. And then the last color at the bottom here on the left here, we're going to make that light gray. Okay, so we have a gradient on our stroke. It's going from light gray to white to light gray again. And that's it. There's nothing hard about it. It's pretty simple. Okay, I think it looks like it's pretty much the same. Okay. And the Huskies, we want that color to be, it's going to go from white to blue. So we want to change our color. Okay. So on the Huskies layer, you want to add a gradient. Go to your layer styles, come down to where it says FX down here at the bottom, and you want to go to gradient overlay, and you want to make the top color white, and we're going to make the bottom color blue. I'm not sure is that the right color or not. It's not. Doesn't look the same. So that's more like a. It's not the same blue, but I mean you get the idea. just going to add a drop shadow. We're going to go back into our layer styles, and you can do that just by double clicking here on this FX icon on your layer where it says FX. Just double click on it and go to drop shadow, and we're just going to make it big. And we want the opacity to be 100, something like that. Okay. So we got a drop shadow. The blend mode is multiplied. The opacity is 100. And you can play with the distance. You know, we can bring it all the way down, bring it up. But I'm going to keep it around maybe 8 for the distance. The spread just kind of makes the shadow thicker. So I'm just going to keep that around 42. And the size is just the size of the drop shadow. So I just make that about 15. Okay. So yeah, I think that pretty much matches what I did last time. What do you guys think? I think it's about the same. Well, the background is darker. Let's go ahead and make the background darker. And we can do that. Let's see. Well, we don't want the floor to be darker. We just want the back, where the clouds are. We just want that part to be darker. So what we can do is add another. We can add another curves adjustment layer. And we're just going to bring it down to make it darker. Okay. Okay, so now we want to, like I said, we don't want the floor to be darker. So on our mask, we want to paint in black because, like I said, anything you paint black is not going to be visible. So we want to paint black over the court, over the basketball court, to bring the color back. See, the basketball court is too dark now because this curves adjustment layer is making it darker. Yeah, that's before, that's after, before, after. So we want to lighten the floor back up. So we're going to paint black right here. See, it's bringing the floor back just a little bit. Okay. Now, like I said, this is a simple design. I mean, you can really get real creative with this and do something crazy. But I just wanted to keep it simple, just to show you that you can get good results with a simple design like this. Okay. And you can even add a logo at the bottom. So let's say if I wanted to add my logo, I just go here, file, open. I just find my logo. And where's my logo? There it is. Okay, so so let's just say I wanted to just drag my logo and just put it at the bottom. See? And there you go. So yeah, Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Like I said, it's basic. I'm gonna be doing some more tutorials. We're gonna maybe take things up a notch. But something like this doesn't take much time at all. I mean, once you get the hang of it. So yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna shut it down. Like I said, this is my first time using Facebook Live to share my screen, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So thanks for being patient with me. And now I have to figure out how to turn it off. So this you can. Okay. Okay, guys. See you later. Peace.